Very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for joining the Cybersecurity and Ethical Hacking workshop. So the workshop will be conducted for 2 days, today and tomorrow at the same hour, 3 to 5:30 p.m. And the workshop would cover both the theoretical and practical aspects in this domain. And without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Kunal Gambhir, who's truly an expert in the field of cybersecurity and has conducted many workshops as well. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ikshita. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hi, everyone. As Ikshita already told you that my name is Kunal and I'm a cybersecurity consultant. So I've been mentoring youngsters from very long time now, and I train them for cybersecurity. And in this session today, we'll be learning about cybersecurity, what exactly cybersecurity is, and what exactly we do on the applications, right? So you might have heard that in cybersecurity, people do hacking, people do a lot of other stuff. So we'll be actually looking at what exactly people do in cybersecurity. All right. So I'll be sharing my screen to you. Can you all see my screen? Is my screen visible to you guys? Ikshita,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is now.
can you see my notepad?
Not yet. Yes, it is visible now.
All right. So whenever we talk about cybersecurity, right? So whenever we say cybersecurity, what does exactly cybersecurity means? Cybersecurity means securing your IT devices. What are these IT devices? How do we secure these IT devices? What all IT devices we need to secure? Now, if you see, everything these days is over the internet. Every damn thing. You want a pencil, you can just go online, you can get a pencil. You want a pen, you want card, you want aeroplane tickets, you want to go to Maldives, you want to done any bookings, everything, every damn thing is over the internet, right? Now, when things are over the internet, they have to be secure as well, right? You want to search for a job, it is over the internet. You want to work, you have to sit at home and then you can just connect to the internet and you can work. You want to access any server, it is over the internet. You talk about mobile phone, your mobile phone is connected to the internet. You want to talk about your laptop is connected to the internet, right? Now all this data of yours is available over the internet. The issue is that, so if I want to fetch any data, I can go on the internet and I can fetch the data if that data is accessible, if that data is available in any particular server without any authentication. So companies have to make sure that this data is secure so that any hacker, कोई भी hacker आके उस server के पास जाएगा, अपना data निकालेगा और चलता बनेगा, right? So the companies have to make sure that these things are not happening, because companies also have to pay some fine if something like this happens. Recently, you might have seen that in Domino's, lots and lots of data was available over the internet. You just enter the phone number of a person, you can get the address of that person. So this is dangerous. This is not something which everyone should have access to, right? So cybersecurity basically means securing your IT devices. What are these IT devices? It can be your mobile phone. It can be any particular server. It can be your operating system. It can be your web application. It can be your mobile application, right? It can be your cloud. It can be any particular IT device. It can be your laptop. You might be using Alexa, right? IoT devices. So securing these IT devices is basically the job of cybersecurity. This is what we do in cybersecurity. Now, how do we exactly secure them? How to secure these devices? So what we have done, we have divided this security issue now in two parts, two teams, you can say. One is red team, another is blue team. Okay. Now, what does red team do and what does blue team do? First, let me tell you about blue team. So if you want to secure any IT device, be it mobile phone, be it your web application, be it mobile application, let's say we talk about web application. Okay. So what does blue team will do? Blue team will play a defensive part. Let's say कि अगर कोई हैकर आपके सिस्टम पे डॉस अटैक करना चाहता है, आपकी वेबसाइट को डाउन करना चाहता है, so what we can do, we can implement firewalls, right? We're not attacking anything. We're only defending. If somebody is trying to attack on us, we are only going to defend it. So blue team job is to defend all the protocols, all the, you can say, security measurements related to protection, which they have to take. Blue team has to take. So for that, we have different certifications. You learn about the how things are setting up, how firewall is to be set up, what kind of protocols we have to follow in that firewall, what kind of rules we need to set in that firewall, right? So blue team job is to defend. Then we have red team. Red team job is to basically offensive. Offensive part is basically done by red team, offensive security. In offensive part, what they do, if you talk about, let's say, website. Okay, there is a website. Let's say this website is selling some stuff. They are selling, let's say, pen. You want to buy the pen. Pen costs 100 rupees on the internet, $100 on the internet. Okay, you're buying online, the pen costs $100. What attacker can do? Attacker can go on that website. They can hack the website. They can reduce the price of the website from $100. They can make it $10. They want to make it $0.1. They can make it $1 and they can order. They can just pay $1 and they can get a pen which costs them $100. Right? They can do different stuff. That depends upon the application, how application is working. All right. I hope you guys are getting my point. Everyone, how we can get the confirmation? Do we have the chat available? Ikshita?
You can, like, guys, you can put out the reactions.
Okay, it seems like I'm talking to a black mirror. All right, let's move on. Okay, so we have two parts, blue team and red team. I hope I'm clear with the blue team and red team. Blue team is defensive, red team is offensive. So in this session, in these 2 days, we will be learning about red team, the offensive part. We're not going to learn about how to set up the firewall, what kind of rules we need to set up in the firewall. No, we will be looking at the offensive part, that if we have an application, if we have a website, how we can attack on that website. Okay, and how we secure it. So if, let's say, somebody has a website, they are selling something, any particular activity they are doing on their website. So they want to that their application should be secure. Why they want the application to be secure? Let's say Facebook. If Facebook is not secure, will you make account on Facebook? Will you upload anything on the Facebook? Instagram. If Instagram is not secure, will you put your stories on the Instagram? If, let's say, you have 5 followers and you're following also 5 people, except 5 people, you don't want anybody to enter into your profile. So you have set some rules in your profile, right? That nobody can send me the request, or if somebody is sending me the request, if I don't approve it, they cannot visit your profile. But if somebody is able to bypass that, will you create an account on Instagram? No, right? If your bank application is not secure, will you choose for the internet banking? No, you will not choose for the internet banking. So their business is also getting lost because they are not secure. So these days, every application, they have to make sure that the application is secure. Also, the buyer is also buying the applications if the application is secure. If it's not secure, nobody is going to buy it. Nobody is going to take care of it. Nobody is going to basically pay attention to it, right? So security is very important. So how things works in the market, if somebody wants to get their application test done. So what they do, they make an application. Now, once the application is being built, they give it to this cybersecurity expert. Okay, what cybersecurity expert do? He performs the attack on that application. Now, these attacks are on the basis of how application has been built, what are the functionalities of the application. If application is selling something, let's say it's a website who is selling something, so they will do the price tampering activity. Price tampering means reducing the price of the product, as I explained you here, that the product cost you $100. They can reduce the price and they'll try. Now, reducing the price of the product, there is not only one way. There are so many ways, 5, 10 different ways that we can reduce the price of the product. Or if they have a wallet option, there is a possibility that we can put some amount in the wallet. So I figured out one of the website in which what we can do, we can upload the amount. without paying them anything. How? So they had a wallet option. Okay, in that wallet, you have, let's say, rupees 0 as of now. But what a hacker can do, hacker can just change this digit from 0 to, let's say, 10,000. And just by changing this simple digit, he has 10,000 amount in his account. Just by changing one simple activity or just by doing one single activity. Okay, so these things we have to analyze. Okay, what is the data going? What kind of functionalities the application has? If they have a data, then can we get that data? All right. So first website is built, then it is being given to the cybersecurity expert. He performs the attack, depends upon different attack he performs, and then he figures all the vulnerabilities, all the issues which has in the application, and then he give it to the developer. कि डेवलपर भैया ये हमारे वेबसाइट में इश्यूज आए हैं, आप इनको ठीक करो. फिर डेवलपर इन सबको ठीक करते हैं, इन सारी एप्लीकेशन, सारी वल्नरेबिलिटीज को, व्हाटएवर वल्नरेबिलिटीज वी फाइंड, 1 2 5 10 20, व्हाटएवर वल्नरेबिलिटीज वी गेट, वी गिव इट टू द डेवलपर, देन डेवलपर मिटिगेट्स देम. Once they are being mitigated, after that we perform the retesting. Right? Okay, let me try again. Am I able to hack it again or not? If not, then the website is being sent to the production. Now the final product is on the internet. That is why these days the applications which are over the internet are secure, because they have been done the VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. This process is known as VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. In this process, what we do, we perform the attack on the application, we figure out all the vulnerabilities, then whosoever is in charge of that particular application, AO basically we call them, application owner, they perform all the mitigation part. Once the mitigation part is done, we again do the retesting. Okay, they have done the mitigation part properly or not. If they have done the mitigation part properly, then we give them the certificate. Okay, you're good to go on the internet, and they go on the internet live. Clear? Till here? Everyone? If you can give me the reaction. Do we have the reaction option available?
Yes, sir, and they are putting out reactions as well.
Okay, I'm not able to see it. Where we can see that?
I guess you are joined as guest, so.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, as I told you in the starting, that cybersecurity is about securing your different IT devices, right? So there are different IT devices. These are the different IT devices which I have given you the example. If you want to analyze the mobile phone, you want to perform the security testing, or you want to hack the mobile phone. So there's a different way, because mobile phone has different operating system. It works in a different manner. So it requires a different setup to hack it or to perform the security testing on it. Same way, if you talk about server, to hack the server, to perform security testing on the server, different tools, different applications are required. Same way, operating system, if you want to check web application. In this section, today's session, we are talking about web application. If you want to perform security testing on a web application, what all tools you required, what all things you required. Okay. Now in web application also, there are so many attacks. Some attack requires some different tools, some attacks require different applications to perform on. Okay. So today we are going to see an attack. We call it SQL injection. We also call it SQL. Now, what do you mean by SQLI? Anyone, any idea? Have you ever heard of this particular term, SQLI or SQL injection? Okay, I'm so sorry. I forgot you guys on mute. Now, whenever we talk about SQLI, basically, if we perform this attack, SQL injection, what we are able to do, either we are able to log in into the application, or we are able to get the data of the application. This data, it can be anything. It can be ID, password, it can be roll number and phone numbers of the person. It can be all the details about the person, whatever data is available with the application, whatever data. Okay, these two things are possible. And What hackers are looking for? Hackers are looking for this thing only. Data. What is on the internet? Data. Somebody wants to attack someone, someone wants to hack an application. Why? Because they want data of that application. So data की मार है सारी. Data अगर secure है आपका, somebody has to be on mute, I think. Okay. तो अगर डेटा आपका सिक्योर है तो फिर कोई इशू नहीं है, बट अगर डेटा सिक्योर नहीं है तो फिर इशू है. तो एसक्यूएल इंजेक्शन के थ्रू हम डेटा को डिग आउट करते हैं. सो बेसिकली वी डिग आउट द डेटा थ्रू एसक्यूएल इंजेक्शन. नाउ to perform this SQL injection, we'll come back to SQL injection again. Whenever you have to perform any activity related to ethical hacking, related to cyber security, okay, you follow 5 steps, or you can say 5 phases. So these are the basically 5 phases of hacking. So first thing, what you do whenever such activity happens, whenever you have to perform any particular hacking activity or you want to perform any security activity, the first thing you do is information gathering. Okay. What do you mean by information gathering? Information gathering means you gather some information about your target. We also call it footprinting. Now, what sort of information we actually want? If you're talking about web application, we want different information. If you talk about server, we want different information. If you talk about mobile application, again, different information. If you talk about operating system, different information is needed. So right now we'll be talking about web applications. If you are hacking or you're performing security assessment on web application, okay, websites basically. So what kind of information you need? You need, let's say you want to figure out the login page of any particular application. Okay, so let's do the practical. With practical we'll understand. So what we are doing, we are basically looking for a login page on the application, any login page of the application. Okay, now Google is something which is of a great help. Google is something which knows everything over the internet. Internet पे क्या चल रहा है Google को पता है. तो whenever you perform any activity, Google is your best friend. It's just you need to ask Google in a proper manner. We also call it Google hacking, Google advanced search, Google dorking. These are the terms which has been given. Okay, so Google is going to tell you everything. Let's say I want login page, any random login page, admin login page, let's say. So how do we search for this admin login page over the internet? All the admin login pages which are available over the internet, I want them. So what we can do, we can simply write in URL. Okay, so what do you mean by in URL? Whatever I want in the URL. I want in the URL, I want an admin login page. Okay, so simply write admin login.php. Hit enter. Now you see, we have got all the pages related to administrator. This page is related to administrator. This page is related to administrator. Go down again, admin login page, admin login page. This is also admin login page. Right. Now we have a page which is basically related to a website. And we have a login page over here. Now, same here, we have a login page, admin login. Same here, we have admin login. Same here, we have admin login, admin login. Right. Now, if this page is available over the internet, generally what people do, these such pages, they don't make it available over the internet. They keep it inside the intranet. They don't put it over the internet. They keep it inside the intranet only. They keep it over the intranet so that nobody should be able to access these pages. Because if somebody is able to access it and they are able to bypass these pages, bypass this particular account, their system has been hacked, right? So if this such page is available and I want to bypass it, so they are asking for username and password. I don't have any username. Let's try anything random. Failed. Please check your name and password. Not aligned, right? I just put random anything. But what if I write some query over here? I write SQL query over here. I write some injection over here. So what kind of injection we can write? So what we can do, we can simply write one simple query or 1 equals to 1. Now, what is this query all about? This is a Boolean based query. If you have ever studied SQL, structured query language, what is this language is about? This language is about basically creating the database. तो जो भी आप डेटाबेस क्रिएट करते हो वो आप एसक्यूएल में करते हो, ठीक है। अभी यहाँ पे कोई तो डेटाबेस होगा, यूजर नेम होगा, पासवर्ड होगा। अगर मान लो लेट्स से इफ द यूजर नेम इज एडमिन and the password is password, what will happen if I type admin and password? The admin and password is going to go to the database. It is going to check, do we have an account with name admin? Yes, we have. Okay, it's a true statement. Do we have the password? Yes, the password is password. Okay, both the statements are true. Let him allow to log in into the application. This is what will happen. But I don't know that username, I don't know the password. So instead of that, what I am doing, whatever the username is, or 1 equals to 1 means whatever the statement I am writing, the statement is true. 1 is equal to 1, which is a true statement. Getting my point? This is a true statement. So if I'll write or 1 equals to 1 or 1 equals to 1 here, and I click on it, says login successful, welcome administrator. You see, with a simple command, with a simple injection, I am able to log in into the application. And I can get the data. See, log out. Right? We have different applications, something over here. Again, if I can just copy paste the commands over here, login, login, all time courier and cargo something. Same here, we have some IP college, oops, invalid username. So this is not allowing us to log in. So this is a secure application, but these two applications are not secure. Username password does not match. Anyways, last try for this one. And I think we are able to log in. Anyways, see, simple attack. Very simple. You just able to find the applications over the internet and you're logging into that application. Now, this particular search can be enhanced more. Likewise, till now, I just demanded for admin login page. I want a specific page from a specific country. I want all the pages from India. I can just write .in. Now, whatever page I'll be getting for India. I want the page from Pakistan. I can just write, sorry, I can just simply write .pk. I got the page from Pakistan. And if I write over here or 1 equals to 1, click login, and I'm logged in again. Simple command, simple injection, and we are able to log in. Right? I think this application is already vulnerable. Yeah. Cool. So information gathering is very important, and Google search is one of the important thing which is going to help you out in this particular scenario. Okay. Now this was like we wanted to look for some admin pages. Now if I want to look for, let's say, a specific protocol over the internet, all the protocols which are open. Let's say if I want to look for FTP protocol. What is FTP? FTP is file transfer protocol. Now these applications, no, they store some file. If I want to exchange some file or they want to put some file over the internet or they want to put it for themselves, for their purpose. They don't want to share it with you, right? So they use FTP protocol, file transfer protocol. So what I can do, I can just simply write in URL FTP. Simple. Now see, I got something related to FTP. If we open this, we're able to see some files over the internet. Now then you have to read these files, what data is available inside these files, where you can use this data. You can use this data for some other attacks. These files should not be available. This protocol should not be available over the internet. It should be authenticated, that if somebody is trying to go to this particular protocol or trying to go to this particular link, it should ask for the ID password. It should not be just simply over the internet. Okay. Same way, if you want to enhance your research, you want for specific country, you can just simply write dot something, .in, .pk, anything, .com, .za, .nl, depends upon what kind of search you are doing. Now, all these things, it's not only in URL. There are specific key terms which we use for Google docking. We use in URL is one of the mostly used one. Okay, except that entitled, Then you can use site, you can use file type. Because you might have seen if you want to look for some, let's say, movies, you can just simply write index of movies. FTP only, we have lots and lots of movies available. Indian, Bangla, Hollywood movie, French movie, Chinese movie. Then again, different movies over here. Again, with the year, specific year. If you want to look for 2022 latest Hollywood movies, all the data is available here. Okay, so information gathering, the first step, you have to gather information about your target. You are looking for a specific URL of a specific application. So you type that particular application name, and then with that you write, let me show you how. Let's say this school, this website. Okay. In URL, I want looking for admin page. Okay. Then I can simply write site name. So what I did, I wrote the site name. In this particular site, I want the admin page. So what it do? It exactly gave me the admin login page over here, the way we found it with another method. So if I want to look for information for a specific application, so we can do this way also. Okay. So information gathering is the first step to perform all these activities, to perform security testing, to perform hacking activity, anything you want to go, that depends upon the intention. Skill sets are same, right? You have a knife, you can murder somebody, you can chop fruits from it and eat them. So skill set is same. It totally depends upon your intention, what you are doing. Okay. Or one more thing which is important, but this particular activity is important if you know about bug bounty. What is bug bounty? Bug bounty is basically there are so many applications, so many companies use it. What this company says we have a websites. Okay, you come, we have a servers, we have a website. You come, you hack us. Okay, they are giving you the permission. You hack us. Tell us how you hacked us. Tell us the vulnerability. Okay, we are going to give you the reward for it. Now, this reward, it can be anything. It can be in terms of money. It can be in terms of t-shirt, swag, we basically call it. It can be in terms of a certificate. All right. So many people these days, they are basically so many college enthusiasts. What they are doing, college students, they are basically pursuing bug bounty because they don't have to go to office. They just have to be in a college. They have to study their own, and then they perform bug bounties activity. What they do, they go online, they figure out all these applications which are paying them for finding bugs. They hack it, and then they submit the vulnerability to the company. Then companies give them the reward. Reward starts from $100 and it can go to any particular amount. You cannot even imagine. $1 lakh, $2 lakh people are getting. Okay. Generally, what people get, $100 to near about $5,000. This is what the average rate what people are earning through bug bounty. Okay, so bug bounty also first step is information gathering. Plus in bug bounty there is one more search which generally people do is subdomains. What do you mean by subdomain? Let's say if it's google.com. Okay, what will be the subdomain of google.com? help.google.com. This is going to be the subdomain of google.com. Same way for Google, it can be support.google.com. It can be talk.google.com. It can be anything then. Move on, right? So why we need to figure out the subdomains? Let's say google.com is the main application, right? Google.com is the main website. Now, if google.com is the main website, they will make sure that they have full security. They have performed every kind of security aspect. They have followed every protocol to perform to secure google.com. Right? अगर google.com उनका main है तो वो make sure करेंगे ना google.com secure रहे. google.com ही hack हो गया तो फिर क्या value रह जाएगी company में. So what they do, they make sure this is secure. But what about talk.google.com? What about help.google.com? There is a possibility If you are not able to find bug in google.com, you might find bug in help.google.com. You might find bug in support.google.com. If somebody says that I have found bug in google.com, it or Google, it does not mean that they found bug in google.com. There's a possibility they might have found bug in support.google.com. They might find a bug in doc.google.com, like this. So what we have to do, we have to basically find the subdomains. You know the domain, you just need to find the subdomains. So how do you find subdomains? There are so many tools, there are so many ways through which we can find subdomain. One of the very good application available over the internet is VirusTotal. So VirusTotal is the application which basically helps out to figure out if the application has virus or not. Okay, some links are there, some links, people create some links which have virus files available over there. So if you upload that link over here, or if you upload any file over here, it will scan that file and it will tell you whether the file has some virus or not. One thing is that. Second thing, it basically figures out all the subdomains as well for you. So let's say if I want to find the subdomain of google.com. So you simply write google.com. Okay, hit enter. Now you see this google.com, click on it. Now you see relations, click on relations. Over here, you see subdomains. These are all the subdomains of google.com. So see datastudio.google.com, ad setting.google.com, Firebase, tools, MW1, chat, ads. So there are so many subdomains. You can find out any particular subdomain. You can pick any particular subdomain and you can start performing the security testing on it. How you can perform security testing on it? Google has already given you the authority to do it. Okay, so there are so many, likewise I told you, there are so many applications, so many websites which says that you come, hack us and tell us how you have hackers. We are going to give you the reward for it. So Google. So we also call it Google Bug Bounty Program, Apple Bug Bounty Program, Domino's Bug Bounty Program, these ways. Okay. This is one of the important part of bug bounty, subdomains. It's not that for every subdomain they are going to pay you or they're going to reward you for it. No, not for every particular subdomain. You basically have to read the scope. In the scope, they will tell you, okay, we are going to pay you for this. We're not going to pay you for this attack. You're not allowed to perform this attack. So you have to follow those policies as well. It's not that you just close your eyes and start performing attack on those applications. No. There have been list of attacks which they say, okay, you're not allowed to perform that. Like DOS attack. They say you're not allowed to perform DOS attack. So you cannot do that. If you do that, you might get in trouble. Okay. So after information gathering is done, we also then move on to the next part, which is scanning. So what do you mean by scanning? Scanning means you now figure out all the information which is not public in nature. Now, if you talk about the information gathering part, we gathered information which was available over the internet, right? Which was available easily. If you talk about scanning, scanning is basically some information which is not so public in nature. Likewise, if any particular server is running, okay. Now in server, there are so many ports. I want to figure out the open ports. Services running on those ports. I want to figure out the version of that particular port. So all this information gathering, okay, all this information, how we do it, there is a very good tool, we call it Nmap, okay. But we are not going to do Nmap right now. We're going to do Nmap for tomorrow. Today we are going to take care of we're going to look towards the web application part. If you talk about Nmap, we also use Nmap in web application, but mainly we use it for the server purpose. If you're performing server attacks, we're performing server information gathering. Nmap is one of the tools which we use it. The first tool which we use is Nmap. Okay, then we'll do Nmap tomorrow. Okay, then the third phase is after the information we have gathered, we have done the scanning part. So with this information gathering part, with this information, whatever information we have collected, we perform the attack and we gain access. So whatever information you have gathered, likewise, if you talk about the first part, we gathered some information, we gathered the login page. Okay, then we perform the attack. and we got the access, gaining access. Once we have gained the access, what we do? We maintain the access. Okay, so that even if later on I want to enter, I want to look for the data, whatever data is updated or not, anything. Okay, the maintenance should be done. Once the access is maintained, we need to, once the hacking is done, I'm like done taking all the data and everything, I need to clear my tracks. Clearing track is difficult because if it's like really difficult clearing tracks, so you're not able to clear it. So what people do, people hide themselves. Now, hiding means they encrypt the channel through which they are entering. They encrypt everything. Okay, likewise, if you will open any application, the log is being generated over there. You go to any particular page, the log is being generated. You put any particular, let's say, payload, the log has been generated. Okay, this particular IP address, try to hit over here and perform this activity, right? Log is being generated. To clear those logs, to delete those logs is difficult task. So what people do, people hide themselves. People encrypt their log. If my IP address is 192.16, let's say anything. Okay, if this is my IP address, what I'll do, I'll use some VPNs, I'll use some Tor browser, and I will encrypt my network. And instead of going from this IP address, I'll be going from this IP address. Okay, now logs will be generated with this IP address. So it will be difficult for someone to track me. I'm not saying it will be impossible. No, it's not impossible. It's difficult. Somehow it is possible. Okay. So clearing tracks. These are the 5 steps of hacking, phases of hacking, 5 phases of hacking: information gathering, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and clearing tracks. Okay. Clear till here? If you can just see the emojis, you can let me know.
Yes. Yes.
Any doubt till here?
I have
Anyone?
unmuted. You have unmuted their mics as well. So if anyone is having any doubts, they can speak up.
Yeah.
Yes, Ayushman,
I wanted to ask, like,
you may.
if you want to begin with all this, where do you start?
So if you want to begin for cybersecurity,
Yeah.
okay. For learning cybersecurity, you need basic knowledge of lots and lots of profiles. Likewise, you should first know cybersecurity. What are the different fields we have in cybersecurity? Okay. Then you should know cryptography, how data is getting encrypted.
But even cryptography is a very vast field. So
Yeah,
what?
you don't have to basically jump into cryptography only. Like in cryptography, we should know about encoding and decoding. We should know about encryption, decryption. We should know about what is hashing, how hashing works. We should know about different algorithms. That's all. You don't have to perform decrypting or something. It's maximum 2 hours or 3 hours you should spend on cryptography, not more than that. Okay, then you should know about the network, how network works, different protocols, different services running on it. Okay, once you are aware of these things, then you can jump into what kind of security you want to go into. If you want to go into web application, then you can learn about Burp Suite first. It's a tool, Burp Suite, one of the best tool of cybersecurity. If you talk about in terms of web application. Okay, if you want to see Burp Suite, I have Burp Suite available here. What does this tool does? This tool basically tells you whatever data you are sending from your system to the internet. 1 second. Okay, by the time it's starting, what does this tool does? Whatever, let's say, data you are sending from your application to the server. And this is your website. Now, let's say you entered your data into any data. Your website is communicating with the server. So whatever data your website is sending to the server, you cannot see it. If you're typing anything, let's say you type your ID password, hit enter or hit login. The data is being transferred to the server. Now you cannot see that data. So how you can see that data? You use Burp Suite for it to see that data. Okay, it's asking for the license key. Somehow I don't know how it got uninstalled. Okay, never mind. We'll talk about Burp Suite tomorrow.
I was more interested in the servers part basically.
Okay, server part I'll tell you tomorrow. So tomorrow the session is going to be on server. Today the session is on web application. Okay.
And I had one last doubt. Which OS are we supposed to use?
Which?
OS, operating system, like
For
Windows,
performing the security testing or for performing general?
like security testing.
Kali Linux is one of the best operating system. Then we have Parrot also, which is coming in the market.
And which language? Like some programming language you are
That depends upon what you want to get into. You want to get into
servers,
yeah.
basically
Then Bash, C.
batch scripting.
Yeah, Bash scripting is going to help you a lot in writing the commands and all.
And
Python
like
also.
language C versus Python, which is more preferable for servers and
Actually, both, because in C, all the exploits have been written. Most of the exploits are written in Python and C.
okay, so like both or either one is fine.
Actually, basic knowledge of both is required.
Okay, fine.
You don't have to dive deep into the coding, right? You just should know what code is written, and if case you want to modify the code, you are able to modify the code as well. You don't have to make an application. You just need to destroy the application. Okay. Anything else?
Is there a direct course or playlist that you want to suggest us?
If there is a course I want to suggest you for servers or for web applications?
Uh, I guess both, because
Servers, servers.
whatever I see.
Actually, see these. If you talk about servers, we will talk about server. I think tomorrow, or I can just tell you more about servers. If you're more interested in server. So this is Walnut. This Walnut, what does they do? They will provide you lots of machines. So you just download these machines and you can start these machines. Okay. And then you can perform attack on these machines. So what these machines are going to provide you the IP address. Okay. Then what you do, use the first step, information gathering. You do Nmap scanning and all different things. And then you can just go for attacking on the servers. This is
I
one
guess
of
there
the
is.
starting of doing all these activities. Now while you will be doing this, okay, by that time you will be learning all the things, that how information gathering is done, how exploitation is done, how things are being done. So different tools are being used. All these tools are available. Most of the tools are available in Kali Linux. If you don't have that, you just simply download it. I'll show you. OSCP, if you are interested in servers now, you can go for OSCP. This is Kali Linux. Okay.
But
I guess there is.
I have Googled about OSCP, and the OSCP cost for that course is around $900 or $1,000.
Yeah.
So like, is it advisable to like directly jump into
No, no,
OSCP
no. You
or
first prepare for it, then you jump into it. Until and unless you think that you are prepared, you are like totally prepared for it. Until and unless you cannot give the exam, don't
yeah?
give the
No,
exam.
no, I'm talking about the OSCP course. The Kali Linux website offers like it's called Intensive Security, Extensive Offensive Security,
Except
and it
security, yeah.
offer $1,000 course,
Yeah.
like the
So
basic
no, no,
course,
no. You don't.
200.
No, no, no. You don't buy that course directly. First, you go on the internet. On Udemy, there are a lot of courses available for OSCP, for web applications. On Udemy, lots of courses are available. Even I myself used to teach all these courses. So you're asking me that from where you can do the course. So Udemy is one of the best platform you can go for these courses. You just write web application penetration testing, cloud penetration testing, or OSCP. These are the key terms which you can search over there.
On the basis of this 2 2 hour session, I mean, I cannot decide whether I want to work on web servers or web development. So I wanna ask ki,
Okay, so right now we have just started and we are going towards the web application only. Today we are
yeah.
basically what we will be doing today. We will be doing the web application attack, right? Tomorrow we will be doing the server attack.
No. So actually, which course I have to choose? So how get I mean,
So whichever you will be like, whichever attack you will be liking, the more you can choose now. Both have the values in the market. Server has more value, you can say. Web application has more demand. Everything is on the application, everything is on the website, everything is on the server.
okay, thank you.
I had a last question for right now.
Yeah.
What do you suggest? Should we use Windows as a base OS and use a virtual machine for Linux, or use Linux as a base OS and use Windows on a
You
virtual
need
machine?
both the machines. You don't need one machine. You need actually both the machines.
Yeah,
Even if
that's
your
what I'm asking. So what should be my base?
base machine should be Windows.
Okay.
If it's a web application. So if you're performing attack on websites, you need Burp
Server
suits. Burp suits run much better on Windows.
and servers?
Sorry, servers, for servers you need Kali Linux.
Can you share your email to us also? Because in future, I maybe uh, find some more doubts, so I
Yeah,
can ask
no
you.
issues. You can directly message me on the LinkedIn as well.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, you can message me on LinkedIn or you can just take my email address. This is my email address.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Shall we move further?
Yes, we can.
So till now, what we have understood, till now we have understood about the 5 phases of hacking, that if you want to hack anything, you need to follow the 5 steps, right? Now, moving on to the attack, web application attack. Like I was saying that if there is an application and we want to dig the data of that application, so what we do, we perform SQLI. We call it structured query language injection, SQL injection. So in SQL injection, basically, we write some SQLI commands. Okay, and we try to execute these commands on the server database, on the database server, and get the result from there. So I want to know what is the database name. I'll be able to figure out what is the database name. I want to see, do we have the users available? I can figure out that. Do we have the passwords available? I can do that. So basically SQL injection, through SQL injection, I can get the database of the application. Okay. Now, to perform SQL injection, we have 5-6 steps to perform SQL injection. There are so many different types of SQL injection we have. So first step is we need to figure out the link for that application. We need to figure out the injection point. Okay. Now let's go to the internet. Let's go to the Google. As I told you, Google is your best friend. We need to ask Google for let's say give us something which has an injection point for SQL injection. So for SQL injection, now what kind of injection point we look for? We look for something ID equals to 1 or ID equals to something like this. The URL should contain something like this, ID equals to 1. ID equals to 1, something like this. So how do we do that? For all these activities, we use Google for it. So if I go, I'll write site. I want some site for Pakistan, let's say. Okay. And I want index page which has ID equals to something like this. I want. See, we have lots and lots of websites available over here which says ID equals to 1. Okay. Now we have an application over here which has something with ID equals to 1. So if you, let's say tomorrow you are a cybersecurity expert, your client comes to you, he says, okay, please perform security testing on my application. So what you do, you try to find this particular parameter, ID equals to something. If you get this parameter, then what you do, first thing, information gathering. This is the information you were looking for. right? The first point, injection point. We found the link where we can perform SQL injection. Now we need to figure out whether we will be able to perform SQL injection or not. The second step is you basically generate an error and see whether we'll be able to get something or not. Illegal characters, backslash, single quote, double quote, all these are basically illegal characters. Over here, if I give backslash and hit enter, now see, is there any change in the application? Anything went missing? There was a data over here, it went missing, right? If I'll go back again to the normal page, this was the data available, but this data got vanished. Again, backslash, hit enter, data is vanished. This means that, okay, if I'm putting any particular value over here, any illegal character, it is generating an error. So this means that whatever I'm putting over here, it is going in the database server and it is giving the response. Okay. So we figured out over here, key, okay, fine. This application is vulnerable to SQL injection, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to find out the database, right? To find out any particular database, first of all, I need to make a space over here where I can write my commands. If I write my command anywhere, let's say if I write order by 5, if I write simple command, it's still giving me an error. So I just simply cannot write any command and execute in the server. With this particular scenario, with this particular illegal character, I am only able to figure out that, okay, I can write, but I need a proper area where I can write. I need to balance my query. So to balance the query, what you get, you write minus minus plus. Okay, so minus minus plus means after my query, whatever it is, ignore that. Just concentrate on my query, whatever query I am writing. So basically, this is the area which we have created for the injection. Now this is my area where I can write all the commands, right? I need to just simply write now SQL commands and figure out the data. That's all. Now, to write the SQLi commands, I'll show you all the SQLi commands. How we go for SQL injection, SQL, if you see, talk about database. So database is in the rows and columns. Okay. So we are basically talking to rows and columns. We are figuring it out what the data is in that particular columns. So I need to figure out the number of columns. Once I'll be able to figure out the number of columns, then I need the database name. So first thing is I need the number of columns. Then I need the database name. Inside database name, let's say I have 5 databases. Inside 5 databases, I need to choose one database in which I want to attack. Inside that database, I'll be having tables. Inside that tables, I'll be having the data. Okay, so this is the steps which I need to follow. First, I need to find the number of columns. Then I need to find out the vulnerable column. Then I need to find the database, all the databases available. Then I need to find the tables. Then I need to find the data. So it's one by one, we'll be doing it. Okay, so I figured out my injection area. I figured out where I need to write my commands. Now the next step is I need to find out the number of columns. So how do you find number of columns? Simple. You just write order by. Now, I don't know how many columns can be there. So I am simply writing 10. It can be 10 columns. Okay, it says no. It's giving you an error. It's not a simple page. It says no, there are no 10 columns. Okay, no problem. I say, okay, you have one column. I wrote one column. It is not giving me any error. I wrote 10 columns. It is giving me an error. This means that we do have one column, but we don't have 10 columns. Now I need to exactly figure out how many columns we actually have. So what we do, we simply write the command again. So we have to do a number guessing game over here. Order by, let's say 5. Now when I wrote order by 5, this means I'm just asking, do we have 5 columns available? So it's not giving me any error. This means that yes, we do have 5 columns available. Okay. If I write 6, now it is giving me an error. This means that we do not. So if I write 5, not giving me error. If I write 6 or let's say 7, It's giving me an error. This means that we have 5 columns available. We do not have 7 columns available. So this is how we figure out guessing game. Now I have figured out, okay, we have 5 columns available. Now out of 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out of these 5 columns, there is a possibility any particular column is vulnerable. Vulnerable means that this might give me some data. If this is not giving me the data, then there is a possibility this might give me the data. This might be a vulnerable column, right? How do you do that? You just write union all, select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the number of columns we are able to figure out. If you go down, you see 2, 3, 4. It's reflecting 2, 3, and 4. If I remove this particular command and there is no command, you see anything over here? 2, 3, 4, something like that? Nothing. It's not displaying anything, right? But if I write a command to figure out what are the vulnerable columns we have, union all, select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry. It's giving me an error. Why? Because I am writing a command which will tell me what all columns are vulnerable. So these are the small, simple commands we need to learn. We should know about these commands. So it says column number 2, 3, and 4 are vulnerable. Okay. So basically 1, 2, and 3 are, 2, 3, and 4 are vulnerable. 1 and 5 is not vulnerable because it is not giving you any particular response. So if instead of 3, let's say if I write database function, what does it give me? It gives me database name, right? If I write version function, it gives me the version they are using, right? So I can just simply write commands over here and I can figure out all the database. All right. Now let's say you are like, oh, I don't know the commands. Now what to do? Don't worry about it. We have something where you don't need to learn the commands. You just need to figure out whether your application is vulnerable or not, and then rest of the things can be done by a tool. So we have something we call hack bar. This is manual way. First we are understanding the manual way. Then these days everything is automation. Everything has come to the automation. So we'll also figure out the automatic way of finding out the vulnerabilities. Okay. So how this attack is being done, automatic way also, we'll be figuring it out. Now this is what we call hack bar. Hack bar is something which has you can put it on your extension and then use it. Very amazing tool. Very amazing tool. Now what does we do in hack bar? In hack bar we can simply write all the SQLi commands. Whatever SQL commands we want, we can simply select it. It will automatically write the command for you. Okay. Once you will install hack bar, I'll share the link with you for the hack bar later on. Once you have hack bar installed on your system, what you can do, you can simply run the hack bar wherever you are performing a tab. This particular application I'm performing a tab, you need to open that application and simply click on load button. Okay. Now in load over here, I had already made the command union all select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was our basic command. Now I need to write all the command at number 3 so that we can see the result. So in hack bar, you see union based. So whenever you talk about SQL injection, there are different types of SQL injection: blind based SQL injection, union based SQL injection, error based SQL injection, double query error based SQL injection, okay, time based SQL injection, boolean based SQL injection. So over here, we are going to do the union based SQL injection. Basically, we are writing the union commands. Okay. So the first thing what I told you, at any point of time, if you are performing any attack on the application, you need to find out the database. Okay, you have to find out the database name. What all databases we have in the application. So simply click on union base, go to the database, select database. Now you see the command has by default written for you. You don't have to write this command. You don't have to learn this command. You just need to understand the command, but the command is written. Click on run. Now you see we have two databases available over here, which is information schema and PHA. These are the two databases we have. Okay. Now, once you have got the database, what's the next step? You need to find out the tables. So delete this particular command. Go to tables, select table name. Now it's saying that for what database you want to go for tables, because there were two databases, right? My database, I want to look for the table, this PHA. This is my database name, PHA. There is two database, information schema and PHA. Information schema, you will find it every particular database. Information schema is always there. Okay. Now PHA I wanted, I just gave the command, click run. Now it's giving me all the tables name. These are the tables available. Out of these tables, I want to see what table I want to enter into. I cannot like simply with one click, I want to get all the tables. No, one by one, we can enter inside the table. One by one, we can do all these steps. So out of all this, album, category, CTA, design, executive, gallery, info, link, member, news, notice, pages, type, user, menu, mold. If you see, user is something which seems very chocolatey, right? There must be some good information we. We got the tables. We decided, okay, what table I want to enter into. Now, after tables, I want columns. What all columns are there inside the tables? So simply select columns. It's asking the table name. What is the table name you want to enter into? I want this table, CP user. Done. And you see, these are the columns available. CPU ID, CP ID, username, user ID, user password, user type is active or not. You can get all this information. You can get this selective information as well. Whatever information you want, you can get that type of information. So let's say I want this data. So again, union based, and then go to data, because we have already figured out the columns. Now we need the data. Go to data, data group content. It's asking for the database name. What should be the database name? What was the database name? Database name was PHA. So PHA. Table name to dump. What was the table name? Table name was CP users. Columns. What all columns I want? Let's say I want these three things. Okay. And run. And you can see that we got the data admin @mail something something. Now this data, it's coming all together. So let's give it a space. Okay, so username is admin, user ID is admin@mail2000.com, and the password. Now you see the password which we are getting over here. The password is in the encrypted format, right? Now that's what the first step. First, you need to learn about hashing, encryption, all these things. Now we have got something with encrypted. Now we can try to decrypt it. So there is a website, Crack Station. You enter the data over here. I'm not robot. Let's see if it is able to crack it or not. No, it's not able to crack it, but that's okay. This is what the security is all about, right? This must be a salted hash. This must be another hash. So you have to spend some time for cracking this particular hash also.
Sir,
Yeah.
could we have used Hashcat for this?
Yes, you can use any particular application, any particular tool for this. But this is a time consuming process again, right? Because this is a hidden trial process. What can work over here? John the Ripper you can use, one of the very good tool. Okay, now this activity which we did, this is one of the attack, one of the number one attack which is there in the market. Lots and lots of websites are vulnerable to these particular applications, this particular attack. Lots and lots of applications are vulnerable to SQL injection. Okay, clear till here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what we did, we understood the manual way of doing this attack, right? We did the manual activity, and then we figured out the target, and then on that target we did all the commands and everything. Now this was a time consuming, this took little time for us to dig out the data and everything, right? Now these still, if you talk about security aspect and if you talk about work in the corporates, there are a lot of applications which are there, lots and lots of applications. You don't have that much time that you go on every website and you dig out the data. So for these particular things, what the people are doing, they're coming to automation. Okay, so likewise this for SQL injection, there is a very good tool, we call it SQL map. Okay, this particular tool is available in the Kali Linux by default, already installed in Kali Linux. If you do not have Kali Linux, you don't want to install Kali Linux, then this tool is also available for the Windows application. If you have Windows, you can download this tool and then you can run this tool on the command prompt also. Okay, if you know about Burp Suite also have this tool in the extensions. So in the Burp Suite, you can install this tool and you can use the same tool in the Burp Suite as well. Okay. Now, SQL map is about giving the SQL map commands and dig out the database of the application. Now, let's figure out some other application. Let's do it on some other application. What application we can go for? I had found some applications for you for practical purpose. Okay, we did it on this. Let's try on this one. Okay, let's say we want to now let's perform SQL injection using SQL map on this application. Okay, this is also one of the application. Now see what I did. I found the target ID equals to something. Right. This was the first step, information gathering. I need to have a result. I need to have a URL which has some ID parameter. I got the ID parameter. Second step is I need to figure out whether I'll be able to perform SQL injection over here or not. How we can do that? We can simply give a illegal character and check. Now see, as soon as I gave the illegal character, what it says, it basically, there was an image over here. It got vanished. I cannot see that image anymore. And if I get back over here to the normal page, I can see. If I give single quote, it does not matter, you give single quote or you give backslash, any illegal character you give, and it's creating the error. This means that there is a possibility. I'm not saying the application is vulnerable to SQLite. No, there is a possibility that you can perform SQL injection attack over there. Okay. Now let's copy this particular link where there is a possibility to perform SQL injection. Now, SQL map -u, or you can simply -h. Okay, this is the commands you can use for SQL map. So this means when you write SQL map -h, this means that SQL map is installed in your system. And these are the commands you can use along with your SQL map. You can write h for help, minus version for figure out the versions, what are the versions available. You want to provide the URL. To provide the URL, you need to write -u. Okay. You want to set up the proxy, so you need to write -- proxy equals to proxy. You want some random agents to be going along with your attack, then -- random agents. So these are the basically all sorts of commands you can use. You can just read about them and figure out if you need these commands or not. Not every particular command requires these things, right? That's clear. Okay, SQL map -u. U is basically for URL. Whatever URL you will be providing, you have to define it by -u. First you write -u and then define this is the URL. Okay, -u. Now I want, so whenever you run SQL map, no, it asks you, okay, do you want to scan the cookies? Do you want to scan methods? Do you want to scan anything? So I want that SQL map to do all the things, should answer all these queries on their own with its own intelligence. Okay, if it's able to see the cookies going in my request, so it should scan it by default. It should not ask me, do you want to scan cookies? No, you scan it. It's your job. So for that, we write -batch. We write batch or banner something. Okay, we'll figure out that. And then I want the database. So I write -dbs and hit enter. See, it didn't took any particular time. Within few seconds, it just gave me the result that there are 2 databases available. Did it took time? No, I just entered few things, simple command, and within few seconds, it gave me that, okay, we have 2 database available. These are the database name. What is the database name? Information schema. As I told you, information schema you will find in every particular database. And then second is Shoaib something. These are the 2 database we have. Let's copy the database name. Okay. Let me open Notepad. Okay, this is the database name. What is the next thing we need? We need tables. What all tables are available in that database? So how we do that? Simple. Let me clear everything. This was the command we used. Now, with this command, -dbs, I was able to get the database name, right? Now, I don't want the database name. I already got the database name. I want the table name. So what we do? -d. -d is basically specifying what is the database I found. The database I found is this. With reference to this database, I want tables. Right. Now this is going to get me tables for that particular database. See, we have got the tables as well. These are all the tables available in that particular database. Base 1, class, DEPT, department basically, then events, jobs, login, okay, tenders, updates. So now I need to decide which particular table I want to get into, right? So let's copy the table name. So let's say login is something which will give us information about the ID and password. All right, then let's make some changes in the command. Now I got the table. So -t basically you need to specify what is the table you want to enter into. I want to enter into login. Login is the table I want to enter. Okay, and what I want from it, I want the columns. So if you remember, I told you first you need the database name, then you need tables, then you look for columns, and then finally you get the data. Okay, this is the protocol you have to follow: database name, table, columns, and data. Columns. Now see, it says they have 4 columns: scenic, ID, password, and role. Right? Now I want the data of all these particular columns. So what I can do, I can simply write the command. Let me clear everything. Okay, I can simply add minus minus dump here, just to dump the data. See what it is doing, it found some hash password. Now it is trying to crack this hash. Last time also we found some hash password, right? But we were not able to crack it. In this scenario, the application is itself is cracking the password. And it was able to crack few, it was not able to crack few. So for the first one, it was able to crack. For the second one, it was able to crack. For the fourth and third and the fourth one, it was able to crack the password. So we have login admin, username is admin, password is admin. We have Tayab like this. So in this scenario, what we do, we didn't write any command. We used only SQL map to enter everything, to enter all the details. Whatever we need to specify. कि मेरे को टेबल चाहिए तो टेबल लिख दिया, मेरे को कॉलम चाहिए कॉलम लिख दिया. वो स्टेप्स हैं. आपको पहले डेटाबेस का ही फाइंड करना है, आपको पहले स्पेसिफिक चीज फाइंड करनी है. ओके, क्लियर टिल हियर?
Yes, sir.
Ikshita, can you unmute people? If you have any query, you can ask me now.
Yes, they are already unmuted. So, guys, if you have any questions, you can unmute and ask.
Any query, anyone? I thought there will be a lot of queries from IIT people. Okay, so you have a homework as well.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, like to get database, we use minus minus DBS, and to get the tables, we use minus D. Could you please repeat what we did after that?
Sorry, come again.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Like we used minus minus DBS to get the database.
Yeah.
Then we did minus D to get the tables. Could you please repeat what we did after that for columns and the final data?
Okay. Okay, so the first command was, we need to figure out the database first, right? So we use minus minus DBS for figuring out the database. If you get the database, right? Once you get the database, you need to figure out the tables now. So for tables, this is the command. I'll write the command. Okay. Okay. So first thing is you need the database, you get the database. Once you get the database, then you need tables. Okay. For table, you need to specify. You need table for which database. So what you do minus D and you define the database name. It can be anything, right? You write the database name, then you ask for the tables. I want the tables for this specific database. Database name. Information schema, you can write information schema and then tables. So it will give you the tables for information schema. You want PHA application, so you write PHA name. Once you get this tables name, then you specify, okay, for what table you want the columns. Table name. So you want columns, minus minus columns. So it will give you the columns for that specific table. Now you want the data also for those columns. So you just simply write dump. Dump means you dump whatever you have on your screen. Dump me everything, whatever you have. So this will dump all the data. Okay, so there are lots and lots of application. Like if you talk about, if you remember in the starting information gathering, I told you two things. One is Google Dorking, another was subdomain. If you figure out any subdomain which is vulnerable to SQL injection, you can simply enter into the application database and you can figure out all the data. There was an application I was performing testing on. That application has all the database of their employees. So anyone wants the data of their employees. It was a this company which was supplying all the products in the market, e-commerce website. So they had all the data of all their clients as well as all their employees, those who were working. Their salary was written over there, their phone number, their address was written over there. If that attack was done by some hacker, then he might use that particular data for such privileges or to sell it in the market.
So, but data dumps are trackable, right? Because the dump is going somewhere.
Yeah, so that's what I told you in the starting. You basically hide yourself. It's not simply you will be logging from your system and then you will be
Yeah,
performing.
obviously you'll be logging from someone else's system, but the
You
place where the
can
dump is going, so there'll be a designated,
still
like,
you can hide yourself, you can encrypt yourself. There is a possibility. There is a possibility you can hide yourself and you can encrypt yourself. Though it's not simple, it takes a lot of time to do that. It's not that okay, tomorrow night tomorrow morning I'll wake up and I'll be performing all these activities within 1 hour. No, it takes 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. You have to do a lot of setups. You have to install a lot of tools. You have to set up a lot of devices. It's not just a matter of 1 hour or 2 hours. No, it's a matter of a week also just to get that data. So people use Tor browser for this. People use different devices. People hack into someone else's network to perform these activities. It's not likewise. Do you know Kevin Mitnick? One of the world's greatest hacker. If you don't know about him, go and read about him. Kevin Mitnick. What he did in 90s, there was a phone released, Motorola. Okay, Motorola had very amazing system. So what he did, he wanted the source code of Motorola. So what he did, he called in the Motorola company. He said, I want to talk to the project manager who made this particular Motorola operating system. So by that time, he was transferred calls to 3 places. Finally, he was able to get the source code just by calling someone on phone. Just by calling, he said that I want that source code. I'm calling from this company. I'm CEO of this company, something like this. And he got the database. He got the operating system. Source code of that particular operating system. Then he manipulated that operating system, source code, and he was able to block someone call, trace calls. So whenever police used to catch him, he used to listen to their calls. Like, okay, we're going there, we're going there. Then he used to take the next step. That's what he used to do. He was once it was said that he can hack into any particular phone system. He can start the world war. He can launch any missile just by one call because he can call anyone anywhere free of cost. That too. So data is important. We need to secure it. That's what the struggle of cybersecurity is these days.
And sir,
Yes.
as you mentioned that this will be needing a lot of practice.
Mhm.
For practice, are there any dummy that we can work on? Because
Are there any dummy websites?
I mean, for SQL injection, sir, would that get me to trouble, like for even attempting on the online sites currently?
Okay, Test PHP is one of the website you can perform attack on. Or if you want to learn more about only SQL injection, then you have SQL Labs. You have SQL injection labs. Okay, you can set up these SQL injection labs also. OneSpy is one of the platform where these labs are already set up. So these have not only 22, then they are part 2 as well. These are the lessons of SQL map, SQLi labs. You can just simply click on start. This will start the lab for you. And once the lab is starting, then you can perform all the attacks over here. So this lab will give you, if you log in this application now, OneSpy, then the lab will be of more than 1 hour, 1 hour or 2 hour. Right now, I am not logged in. So it is only giving me for 10 minutes. You just simply click over here. This is a lab. And before starting the lab, now we have lab started, you have to set up the database. So set up database for labs. Go back. Now the lab has started. Now this is the first lab. So this is my first lab. You go to the first lesson. Now, I told you in the starting, if you talk about SQL injection, enter ID parameter manually over here. You write ID equals to 1. This is the first step. For every particular link, you will have to do it. Okay. Once this is done, you give the backslash or any particular illegal character over here. You see, it's giving you a SQL syntax error. You're getting an error over here. The one we saw in the practical scenario, in the practical life on the real website, it was giving some other error. It was vanishing the data. Right over here, it is not vanishing the data. It is giving you the SQL syntax error. So error can be in form of anything. You have to figure out, you have to analyze the error. Then only you have to take the next step. It's not that only it's giving you the error, so SQL injection is possible. No. If let's say application does not have any ID parameter, application does not exist any ID parameter, then where you can do, you can figure out the input places. You have login page, you have the area where you write ID and password. There are so many different parameters going. You have the contact form, you have the cookies going. There are different other data which is going. So you basically perform attack on that area. Not only the ID parameter is not only the one parameter which is vulnerable. No, there are so many other parameters also you try to attack on. Okay, so here as you can see that after backslash, and if you see analyze over here, this error after backslash, it says single quote, right? So this basically error is helping us to take the next step, which is balancing the page. Balancing the page means making an area where I can write my commands. Okay, so this single quote, what I have to do, I have to just simply here single quote space minus minus plus. Enter. Now it's a normal page. This means that this is my area where I can write the command. Now this is the area where I can write the command. Order by, let's say, unknown column 4. Okay, do we have column 2? Yes, we do have columns 2. Now I have to check, okay, do we have column 3, 4, 5? We do have 3 columns, we don't have 4 columns. Again, we figure out the vulnerable column. Now see, so see, these are the challenges what you get. I wrote union all select 1 comma 2 comma 3. It's not giving me any particular vulnerable column. It should supposed to give me some vulnerable column. Now what to do in this scenario? We need to generate some error. Okay, so how do we generate an error? There are so many different ways. You delete the ID parameter, or you change the ID parameter, or you give the minus sign in the ID parameter. As soon as I gave the minus sign in the ID parameter, I was trying to generate an error and I got something 2 and 3 are vulnerable. So different ways, different things, different techniques, different scenarios, depends upon the scenario, you choose the attack. Depends upon the scenario, you change your code. And this will come with practice. So over here, I figure out, okay, column number 2 and 3 are vulnerable. So if I write, let's say, database function, I got the database name. Now I can just simply move on to my hack bar. I can put all the commands over here and I can dig out the database. So this is one of the lab you can look for, vulnspy.com/SQLI labs. Okay, so they have near about 22 lessons. You can do these 22 lessons. The solutions are also available over the internet. You can figure out those solutions. You can read those solutions.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So in the starting, somebody asked me in between that what all things you should know, what all things you should learn if you want to get into the cybersecurity, right? So the first thing I told you that you should be aware of what is cybersecurity, what are the different fields we have in cybersecurity. So you should know about that. What are the different terms and technologies you use, terms you use in cybersecurity. Likewise, somebody will say, okay, hit the payload. What is penetration testing? What are the tools you use in cybersecurity, right? Then you should know about cryptography. Cryptography is one of the important topic of cybersecurity. One of the important topic. Without cryptography, it is like you will not be able to understand the data. Whatever data is going, the data is getting encrypted and then it is going. So you should be aware of what is the encrypted data, what is the encoded data, all these things. Third, you should be aware of the networking. What are the ports? What are the protocols? How things are working? Okay. What are the services running? What is the version of those services? Once you're aware of all these things, then you should know how to do footprinting. Basically, information gathering. Very important. We learn two aspects of information gathering. There's not only two things which which will help you to gather information. Google is not only the source through which you gather information. There are different tools. Wapalizer is there, Nikto is there. Okay, so you need to understand that what all kind of information you gather, then you analyze that information, and then you take this next step. Now, whenever you talk about footprinting, okay, this is basically public information. It is publicly available, easily available. You go on the internet, you are able to find it. Once you are able to understand footprinting part, then you understand the scanning part. Let's say you are into a network or you are sitting in an office. Okay, you need to figure out all the other particular devices which are connected to the same network. You are connected to a network, you're connected to the internet. Okay, your system is connected to the internet. Now, if let's say you are in the hostel and you need to figure out what all other devices, किसी का phone connect है, किसी का laptop connect है, किसी का tablet connect है, किसी का TV connect है, किसी का कोई Alexa या Amazon का कोई दूसरा device connect है, किसी की watch connect है, you need to figure out their IP address. How are you going to figure out that IP address? Scanning is something which will teach you. Okay. For that IP address, what are the services running on that particular IP address? Is that service is vulnerable or not? If that particular port service is open, can I connect to that particular port or not? Okay. For that, for scanning part, you should know about the networking. You should know about the network. So you learn in scanning what all tools you can use, what are the type of information you need to analyze. Okay. Once you will understand this, then it's time to choose whether you want to, if you talk about overall cybersecurity, okay, not only web application, mobile application or other things, then you basically learn about web application attacks or web application pen testing. Okay. In web application pen testing, you start from different attacks. First, you start from a very good tool, which is Burp Suite. Now, it's not only if you want to do OSCP, still you need Burp Suite for that. It's not that OSCP is all about servers. No, you need to have the websites as well in that. You need to have the servers as well in that. So you need to have an overall understanding of every particular device. Okay, so you need Burp Suite for that. Burp Suite is one of the, again, important tool for it. It's a paid version, it's a free version, community version as well is there, and the cracked version is also available. So once you learn Burp Suite, after Burp Suite, so let me also show you Burp Suite once. It's available in the Kali Linux as well. If you have Linux installed, you can simply use Burp from here. Now to start Burp Suite, you need to basically set up Burp Suite with your Mozilla Firefox. Okay, so you need to do the proxy settings first and then you can use the Burp Suite. So this is a proxy setting, what I'm doing. Why you need to perform proxy setting? You need to perform proxy setting so that any particular data which is going from your browser, you will be able to see that data in the Burp Suite. That's why you do it. So this is the community edition. In community edition, there are so many things which you will not be able to perform. Okay. If you will want to buy this burp suit, this will cost near about $400-500. Generally, all the bug bounty hunters, or if you talk about normal college students, they basically download the cracked version. So cracked version also works very fine. Now see, this is burp suit. Okay, this is a tool which is very important. What this tool does for you, this is a proxy tab for this tool. What does proxy tab will do? Proxy tab will show you that all the data, whatever data is going from your device to the server. So if I type over here, let's say what application should, let's say test PHP only. Let me open test PHP first. Okay, so let's say I want to go to login page. Okay, in the user I'll write admin, and password I'll write password. So, and if I'll go for burp suit, intercept on. Now see, I'm sending this data to the server. I click on login. Now, as soon as I clicked on login, burp suit appears. It says that this information is going to the server. This information has not reached server yet. Okay, this information is in your system only. My application was sending some information to the server, right? In the backend, it was sending. What is the information it is sending? Now read this information. It says the request is going through post method. Now we should know what is get method, post method. If you're sending, these are the HTTP methods. Okay. Now this HTTP method is taking the method which is used over here is post. Why post? Because we are sending some data, we are posting some data. That is why post method is being used. If you're not sending anything, it will be get. If we are editing anything, there is a possibility it would be put. If you're deleting anything, it would be delete method. Then there are 7 different methods also which we use. Okay. Then host. Host means the website name. Then user engine, is it Mozilla, is it Google Chrome, is it Internet Explorer, whatever it is. So user agent. Then accept, is it text, images, what all things are going on, language encoded hai nahi hai, all this information. Origin कहाँ से हुआ उसका, connection close हुआ, refer किसको किया उसने, कहाँ से किया refer. डेटा क्या जा रहा है, यूजर नेम जा रहा है एडमिन, पासवर्ड जा रहा है पासवर्ड, राइट. अभी यहाँ पे हम ब्रूट फोर्स अटैक कर सकते हैं. हम कहते हैं कि हमें पासवर्ड नहीं पता, तो what we can do, we can simply perform brute force attack over here. You simply select this, send this to Intuitor. Intuitor is something where you can perform brute force attack. So you should know about all these particular tabs, what these different tabs do, how you can use these different tabs. Okay. And then just select simple password area, go to the payloads, simply select what you want to do. You want to brute force. So something like this, and then you can perform brute force attack. See, brute force attack has started. Once it will be able to figure out what is the password, it will show you the status 200 OK over here. Okay, this is not going to find the password because I only gave it for 4 digit. You will see the status 400 over here. So this is burp suit. Basically, I have to just show you what burp suit is about, how does it look like, and how does it work. So different tabs we have in burp suit, different activities you can perform. So if you talk about web application, you have to analyze the data, analyze the request, what is the request going on, and then you perform the attack on the basis of that request. Okay, lots and lots of attacks are being done only on the parameters. You see these parameters: SQL injection, XSS attack, LFI, RFI. These are the different directories. All these attacks have been done over here. So to perform these attacks, we follow a WASP top 10. Okay. So if you talk about web application, burp suit is something you should know. Then after you learn about burp suit, you learn about different attacks. So we have learned SQLite today. It's not only the one way you can perform SQL injection. This is not only the way that you can perform SQL injection. There are so many other ways also. Likewise, in this particular lessons, you can see 22 lessons. There are 22 ways that you can perform SQL injection. Even more than that. Then you learn about price tampering. You learn about OTP bypass, authentication bypass. So methodologies. So you basically follow a VASP top. Okay. Once you learn about web application, then you learn about servers. In server, you learn about Nmap, you learn about Nikto. Okay. Then you learn about how to exploit or how to gather information for a protocol. So let's say FTP port is open. Okay, if FTP port is open, then you should know. Do you need the version of that FTP port or not? Do you how to connect to FTP port? If FTP port is open and you have the IP address, how you can get connected to that FTP port? Okay, for that you should know networking knowledge. You should have networking knowledge. But if you talk about servers, while doing it, you learn also. It's not that if you don't know anything about networking, you will not be able to learn about servers. No, nothing like that. If you talk about then SSH service, you should know about HTTP services. Then other different services are there. Then you should know about the exploitation part. Okay, if service is open, let's say SSH service is open. Okay, how you can exploit it? So exploitation should be known to you. Okay, now in this server part, you should know C language, you should know batch scripting, you should know Python. ऐसा नहीं है कि बहुत अच्छे से आनी चाहिए, अगर बहुत अच्छे से नहीं है कि you will not know, nothing like that. Once you will start it, you will see that you will be able to figure out everything and you will be able to learn things with time. Okay. Then once you learn about this, you can also learn about mobile application. Okay. Because mobile application, the way they are built, the data they have, the process of cracking those applications is different. Same way you can learn about source code. How the source code is being tested. You can learn about cloud testing. To learn cloud testing, again, what cloud you want to learn test for? You want to learn for AWS, you want to learn for Google Cloud, or any other cloud you want to go for, like this. Okay. I hope this was helpful.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to ask?
Yes, sir. Sir, I just looked up that we can also use SQLi on Instagram. So why don't it's such a big company? Why do they not fix that part? Or is it because their encryption, that final one, is very strong?
No. Are you able to get the data for it? Like after you perform SQL injection on it, are you able to dig out the data from there?
I'm not sure, sir. I just looked up that it's possible.
No, it's not like that. You might have found the parameter. This might be giving you some error, but if you will perform the full SQL part, you might not get the data.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? Okay. So when you talk about these courses, okay, so you can pick any of the course, but with time now, if you think like a hacker, it's not only the web application, mobile application, these things are only helpful. No, social engineering is also helpful. What is in social engineering? Social engineering is basically art of manipulation. Art of manipulation. Now, what do you mean by art of manipulation? Art of manipulation means you talk to someone and then you basically hack them. So in this scenario also you need IT support. IT support means you need to send somebody the link, you need to get a pen drive and insert that pen drive into the system and then get the work done. Okay, all these things you should know. So art of manipulation is one of the best way of hacking somebody in your real life. If you talk about, let's say you have your friends, you have a good boyfriend, you have a girlfriend, you have a friend. While you talk to them, there's a possibility they might give you their username or password, or you trick them to log in into your system. Now, let's say if your friend logs into your system, the friend is logging into Gmail in your system and he didn't log out. You have his full Gmail account. You have his photographs, you have his account, whatever he's doing. You can change his password. You can get into his password, into his any particular account, which is linked with that particular Gmail account. If he is not opting for OTP, right? If he's not opting for 2FA, then you can get all this information very easily. All you need is Gmail account. So social engineering is tricking people. So one lady now, what she used to do, she was con caller. Con caller means she used to call people and ask them their credit card details. She used to tell them, okay, I'm calling from this bank, and then she used to get. So what she used to do, she used to call them using their relative's phone number. Likewise, if A is a relative of B and C is the conman, so what C will do? C will use B's number to call A. Okay. So there is a application Indie Caller. You can use this application to do this. You just need to install this application. There is one more application, Swiper. So if you have these applications, Swiper is I think paid application. Indie Caller is a free application. So you just need to install. You need to enter the number you want to call from. You want to call to. That's all. You want to, let's say, call from 1 to 3, or you want to, number should be display 100 police ka number, right? And you want to call to some number. You can call them, you can talk to them, hello, I'm calling from police station and all that. They'll be okay, the number is coming from 100. They'll be thinking like, okay, this is from police station. You can call your father from your mother's number. You can simply enter your mother's number, you call your father from your mother's number, you vice versa, any friends to anybody number. But this is not legal in India. Okay, this is illegal in India. If you talk about foreign country, if you talk about US, in US this is legal. This is legal only till if you are performing prank. You're using this particular tool for prank purpose. If you're not using it for the prank purpose, you're trying to hack somebody, then definitely it's illegal. But yeah, for prank purpose, this is legal. Okay. Or you want to, let's say, change the password of someone's system. Let's say your friend gives you his system, his laptop, okay, and you want to change his password. But to change the password, you should know the previous password. So simply open the command prompt using the admin privileges. Simply write net user and username, and you can change the password likewise. Yeah. Okay, simply write net user, username, new password. This will change the password of that particular system. You don't need any other password. You want someone's password from their laptop. Let's say you have your friend's laptop in your hand. Okay. So what you can do, you can still using their particular system, you can get their password as well. Likewise. let's say if I want to look for the password over here. Okay, now if I want to look for any password, let's say I want to look for this password. If I click over here, it's going to ask me the password for my system. Okay, I'm not able to see that. It's asking for the password for my system. I cannot enter the password, or you cannot enter the password as you don't know the password. So what you can do, you can simply change the password of the person, laptop, person, system, and then use it. If you don't want to use it, let's say you don't have that much time, or if you'll change the password, you think that okay, they will get to know about it. So you can make a pen drive. Using that particular pen drive, you can get this all these passwords. So we call it Chrome Pass. Okay, so what you have to do, you download this Chrome Pass software in your system. Okay, this is the Chrome Pass software. So chrome.exe is the file which will come. You put this chromepass.exe in your pen drive. Okay, now you carry that pen drive, insert that pen drive in any particular system, run this tool. Once you will run this tool, whatever passwords they have saved in their Google Chrome, I'm specifically talking about the Google Chrome, right? I opened the Google Chrome. If you have seen, I have saved some password in my Google Chrome. Every single password from that Google Chrome will come in your Chrome Pass application, and then you can select all and save it in your pen drive only. Once you will save it, you have the password, all the passwords of that particular person, what all passwords were saved in Google Chrome. This is one of the simple and one of the easiest way of hacking someone. But now to hack this, to perform this activity, what you need social engineering. You need to talk to your friend. You need to tell them, okay, can I please take your laptop? Can I please have a system? I am not able to run my pen drive. Or simply talk to them, insert pen drive in front of them only. Like this, you can hack various people. Okay, so social engineering, art of manipulation. So people are hacking somebody, but they are also using social engineering skills for that. They're not simply just sending the link, people will click on the link and they'll be hacked. No, you have to make sure that, okay, you go and click that link. You call them, can you please click that link? You ask them, can you please log in into this? Can you please perform this activity? Okay. So you have to make sure that you are not doing all these activities. If somebody is asking that, hey, can you please log in over here? I'm facing some trouble. Or somebody calls you, okay, can you please share your OTP? All these things you guys are already aware of. Lots of awareness campaigns are going on these things, right? So you guys are intelligent enough for this. Okay, chalo. Anything else you guys want to know? Any other question? This was all for web application.
Yes, sir. So as you mentioned and you briefed over all of these areas, it's very interesting to know about this. But also at the same time, so it is very, it would be very irresponsible if our system in the first place is not very secured, right, sir? So what should be the steps that are aside from the basic fundamental level, that all of these steps should be followed? Only then we should go for these practices. Sir?
If you talk about your system, your laptop is, if your system is updated, it is already secured. All you have to be careful about is while you're downloading any software which is from a free website, you directly don't download in your system. You download in a virtual system and figure out whether it's not encrypting your data. Okay, that's software, the cracked software which you're downloading is secure or not. So you simply don't download on your main system. You download it on the virtual machine and then figure out. Okay. Systems are already secure. Windows are secure. If you're talking about Windows, you talk about Linux, they are secure. Just keep them updated. Make sure that your firewall is running all the time.
This is like a sandbox, so that.
Yeah, sandbox.
Yes.
You can run those softwares, cracked softwares in the sandbox first, and then you can put it in your main system.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what you have to do is, got this. Okay. So this is a website. Okay. What you have to do is you use either the manual way or you use the SQL map. Okay, both the ways are fine. You have to dig the database of this particular application. Okay, will you be able to do it?
Yes, sir.
Now, while you will be doing it, what you have to do is you have to make a report also. What report? That, okay, this place I entered this command, this place I performed this activity, this while I entered this particular payload, I got this particular result. So you have to take the screenshots. Okay, and then one by one, you have to put the screenshot. And you have to explain that screenshot. Okay, this in this particular ID parameter, I gave this command in this particular ID parameter. Or if you're using SQL map, then the screenshot of the SQL map. Okay, this command gave me this result. This command gave me this result. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think we can end the session here. And if you guys have any query till now, you can ask me. I'm open for the queries.
Sir, could you please give the link for the Hackbar tool?
Okay, link for the Hackbar tool. This is the link for Hackbar tool.
Sir, like you can send the link to my phone number and I'll just paste it here.
Sure.
Send the link to me and I'll put it in the chat. Yeah.
So here I can send it to you. I'll send it to you later.
I'll paste it in the chat. You can access from there.
Okay.
Please keep checking the chat.
Okay. Okay, guys, then that's all for today. And tomorrow we are going to learn about the servers. Okay, server part. And tomorrow I'll also figure out some links for you from where you can actually learn all these things. Okay, online. All the platforms, good platforms where you can access and you can learn. All right. Tomorrow we'll be looking for the server part, how we can figure out the information of the server and how we can attack, how we can take remote connection for that particular server. Okay. Chalo, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you for the workshop.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you,
guys,
sir.
I'll put the MS Teams code in the chat. Please do join the channel so that you can get access to the chat. Yeah, thank you all for joining.
Whether this session is recorded, Ishita?
Yes, ma'am. The session is recorded.
So can I get the recorded from where I can download that thing?
Yeah, like we can send you it personally. Like we'll approach you and send it.
So to whom I should send a mail actually to forget?
Like my mail ID, that is fine.
See, I have a mail ID of this Vathyak Sanjay Kumar.
Acha, okay. Like you can mail to that mail ID, ma'am.
That is fine.